Okay, let's get going. Welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus unemployment claims. My name is Lee Goldstein, the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. All right, let's get started this morning. So, a couple of things that I wanted to mention. So, yesterday I watched the 20-year bond auction. And wouldn't you know it, the 20-year bond auction had a pretty good move. It would have been a good trade. If you look at the DMM, it was a disaster. I mean, there's no two ways about it. You look at the DMM on the 20-year auction, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. There's no reason to trade it. No moves twice in a row. One move in 6 months of four ticks. One move in 6 months of four ticks. So I just traded it in sim. I didn't even have any interest in trading it live. The YM didn't move. Probably time to remove the YM from the bond reports. And but ZB had a very nice move for the first time in 7 months. It took about 20 seconds, if I remember correctly. No move, nothing happening. And then the auction affects the market usually 2 minutes after 1 o'clock. That's the general way that it works. 30 seconds, there's the move. And it filled the first target. Usually there's a couple of ticks of slippage. There can be live, but it kept going. So it was definitely a winner. Definitely a winning bond auction. First one in 7 months on the 20 year. So does that mean I'm jumping back into the bond auctions? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, does it mean you could try trading it on your own? You have a setup, you got a DMM. It's not complicated to trade if you want to trade it. Um, it's best, usually, to trade the events that give you the most profit. So if it has a couple that start working, then I'm more interested in trading it. But I'm still not that interested because it's 1 in 7. That doesn't get me all that interested. So what else? So then I was hanging around. I set my alarm for all the events that we didn't trade yesterday. So I looked at the API. I took a look at the API. All right. API, another DMM. My boss is dying to stop doing these DMMs, and I ask him, please keep doing them. You got 6 weeks, you had one winner in 6 weeks, and I'm telling you, if I pull up four more API DMMs, maybe you've got two winners in 24 weeks. All right? Two winners in 24 weeks. But API, it got about 7 ticks. The news came out, and I'll show it to you just because, again, there is a setup. It's not a complicated setup. Anybody could do it. Just follow the DMM on that report. Oil was up $2.66 and it filled short. You think I was dying to be filled short? I wasn't, but certainly oil had been pulling back before the report for quite a while, more than a half hour since we got there. It had a pretty significant pullback, almost 50 ticks. So it basically hits the first target. You could get your stop to safety, and then it took me out. So probably about two winners in 20 weeks on the API report. Now, the most tricky one of all is Australia jobs. Now, I most of the time I will trade Australia jobs whether we have a room or not. It doesn't mean it's a good report to trade because the reason we did not have a room is because when Chantal and I went over the news, we realized there's no way to know if it's a breakout or a trap. Neither one has been all that good. So when our testing is so mediocre, I'm not having a room. We did decide the trap is safer, especially at 7:30 at night when liquidity is lousy, right? And volume is lousy because the market opened an hour and a half prior. That's very recent. There was no volume before the news. I took a trap. I shrunk the tiers. I shrunk the tiers from the DMM by about 5 tiers on both sides. It filled target one, tier one, to the short side. Price popped up. It moved about 26 ticks. It was not a great breakout. Why? You know what? It was a tradable breakout, but it pulled back fast, and there was not a major amount of profit. It was better as a trap. All right. And that's the way I traded it. I traded two contracts on the first tier because I know with Australia, it's only $5 a tick. If I'm not getting filled on that
In
second
10 minutes' time
tier,
now, at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, Atlanta Fed
at
President
least I
Bostic
want
due
to
to be
have a
giving
couple of
opening remarks at
ticks,
the
right?
Banking
I want
Outlook
to have a
conference.
couple of
But there's no text or
contracts,
Q&A.
not ticks. And it started pulling down. I was able to get my stop to safety, started to trail, and it was late. I was tired. I trailed tight, and it took me out for like 120 bucks. So it was worth trading, but it hasn't been trading well enough to bring the room into it. That's really the reality. I said I wasn't going to trade some of the reports that are not giving us profits. And I have no regrets about holding that open, not trading, the lousy reports. This morning with earnings, we were challenged. I mean, I made a mistake and hadn't done a deep dive into the earnings this morning. John Deere never is on time, and Walmart is a big problem. And the earnings were difficult this morning. We made money, but we had to go old school, trade them the old way we used to trade them. And it was pretty darn complicated. You had to move your orders manually. It was not easy trading earnings this morning. Walmart was not on time. Walmart has changed over to the NQ index. They've changed, and it actually is now better as an MNQ or an NQ trade. So going forward, I'm not probably not going to give up on Walmart, but we know they're not on time. And if you're going to trade it, it's one of those that you can't really count on it being great. It's not great. You have to work really hard to get some money out of it because they don't release on time. And that's a problem when that's the case. All right. Now let's talk about unemployment claims because this is on our boss's do not trade list. It's on the do not trade list because the NQ is not a very good instrument on this event. It doesn't trade well. And gold, we've gone to a big trap trade, so it's very high risk or a pretty big risk because you got to, if you use a tiny trap, it may not work at all. Today, though, gold is kind of quiet, but this report is on the do not trade list. Why? Total and complete inconsistency from the beginning of time since we started existing as a company. This report has been inconsistent. It's never. You know how we never use the word never in trading? It's never uh, been a big hit, been a big winner. I never heard of this rapper, Little Papa. A lot of rappers die young. Prince Andrew arrested. Incredible. His own brother pretty much going after him. I could think of a few other people that need to be arrested. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. The day will come. The day will come. We've got Philly Fed and unemployment claims. Philly Fed unemployment claims. All right. Also, we've got a little bit of trade balance going on. Look at all the news. Tremendous amount of news. All of this is news. 8:30 news. Let me shrink it. All of this. So the news starts here, right after Bostic. Philly Fed, and we go all the way down to here. There's a lot of elements in the news this morning. I will.
So in 5 minutes' time now, at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, Fed's Bostic giving opening remarks at the Banking Outlook
So
conference.
just to give
There's
you
no
a heads
text or
up,
Q&A
you've
expected.
got Canada trade balance, U.S. trade balance. You've got initial jobless claims and Philly Fed with the U.S. That's everything going on in the U.S. If you're going to trade, use the MNQ. Don't trade the NQ unless you don't really care about the account. If you don't mind, I shouldn't say if you don't care, if you can deal with the risk, the unknown, trading a report that is not a high moneymaker, you could trade it as a magnet, right? Let's do an MNQ magnet, which we never do. You've got a double magnet on the VWAP, and you have nice high of day, low of day magnets. The low of day is a little close, but it's not as close as you think because 48 down to 14 is 34 points times 4. It's 120 ticks. So first thing you could do is do an MNQ reverse continue, right? MNQ reverse continue. Put a couple on your chart. You could trade it as a multi-position trade. You could do it as a scalp the way I do it. Everybody has the opportunity to make your own choices of the type of scalp that you do. You never have to trade it exactly the way that I do because these are discretionary scalps, right? Instead of doing just position 1 and 2 contracts, you could do position 1 is one contract, position 2 is one or two contracts. You could use target one, you could use trailing stops. There's multiple ways you could do a discretionary trade. I'm just doing it in a simple couple of contracts at position one, a target of 40, stop of 75. And I'll do this in my junior, I have a junior prop account. We'll do it in number 30 and we'll label it MNQ reverse continue. But I don't have any interest, in all honesty, in doing this as a breakout because it works so poorly in general. But I'll do it as a magnet. I'm interested in a magnet. So let's put a little magnet on here. And it's already starting to test the low. The markets are negative. So let's say we do a high of day, low of day magnet. High of day, low of day. Proximity's a 3. And I'll do position 1 as a 1, position 2 as a 1. Default of -3 ticks on the first target. And then I want to go 15 ticks through the magnet on my second target. And my stop, I want to use at least a 75 tick stop. All right. So we have a magnet. I don't have to do anything else. Choose the account, right? Same account as our reverse continue. Label it MNQ magnet.
Shortly expected comments from Feds Bostic. Again, no
And
text
we'll
or
apply it.
Q&A are
All right.
expected.
Turn it on. Turn on the magnet. We're going to get our orders. All right. Now, the problem on the NQ on the downside, if we hover on the magnet button, it'll show us where our sell is. It's 27.50. It's only 13 points right now away from the low of the day. But 13 times 4 is 50 ticks. So, look, right now it's pushing up. So we can leave everything where it is. I'm not going to put it in auto mode because I don't want to get filled before the news. It's a little bit close to the low at the moment to do a perfect low of day, but
Expecting comments from
it's
Feds
pulling
Bostic
away,
anytime
which
from
I
now. It does
like.
bring us 10 minutes
I
away
want to
from
see
the
a little
bottom
bit of
of the hour, where we get
space.
the US weekly jobless
I
claims
prefer a
numbers.
little more
Initial claims
space
forecast
in the
225k from the
structure.
prior
In
227,
other
with a
words,
range of
I'd like to be
235k to
in an
204k
ideal
expected.
situation.
Continued
I'd
claims
like to be
forecast
further
1.86 million on the prior
from the
1.862
previous
million.
candles
We
than it
also get the
is.
US trade balance as data for December.
But
Forecast is
I
for a
like to
deficit of
use the
55.5
structure
billion
that's
on the prior
there.
deficit of 56.8
I don't
billion.
want my
The range
orders
sees deficits of
above the
46.8
previous
to
structure. You
87
follow what
billion
I
dollars
mean when I say
expected.
structure?
We also get the Philly Fed
I want to
Business
be
Index as
filled
well.
when it
Forecast of
breaks that
7.5 on the prior
structure.
12.6.
Okay?
Advanced goods trade balance. Forecast a deficit of
Hey,
86
folks, I
billion
have to
on the prior
take
deficit
this.
of
Hang on.
84.72 billion. Retail inventories ex auto advanced read saw a prior read of 0%. Wholesale
Hello?
inventories month-over-month advanced saw a prior read of minus 0.1%. We'd also get the Canadian trade balance for December.
I
The
have my
forecast sees a
webinar
deficit of
today. It's the
2.2
worst
billion from the prior
possible.
deficit of
It's
0.58 billion. Now,
it's
keep in
my.
mind as
I
well at
have
the
that
bottom of the hour,
challenge this week.
we are expecting comments from a Fed's
I mean, he
Bowman as
can do.
well,
If
delivering
the problem
recorded opening
is,
remarks
I
at the
mean,
same
let him come
banking
when he wants to come.
conference. Text
Right
is
now, the
expected
door's
for
working
Bowman
perfectly.
with no Q&A.
Yeah, but he needs to fix it. He needs to fix it. Today is probably better. Today is probably better. Fine. Okay. Just let. If he could come a little later, if he could come a little bit earlier, it's better. Well, closer to 11 is fine. Yeah, yeah. 11 is fine. I don't start till 12. Okay. All right. Bye. Sorry, folks. I think I was streaming that on YouTube. Anyway, it just had to do with a door being fixed. Anyway, you could see that our low might fill before the news, so it may make the magnet null and void. Now, you could take the short before the news if you want, but you don't know what the news is going to be. It could ruin the magnet trade, okay? It can ruin the magnet trade. Now on gold, I'll put a reverse continue. I'll put micro gold. Again, I don't want to risk $500-800 on gold on reports that don't work very well. So we'll put gold on 0.426. Also, I think I'm going to shrink the tiers today because gold is kind of quiet. So we'll go micro instead of major gold. And that's really because I don't want to blow up accounts, on bad performing reports. It's been decent as a trap trade, this particular event, but we do have difficulty with the trap in terms of volatility on gold and making a decision what is the best size trap. The trap has changed over the past month because gold's been crazy over the past month. Now, looking at gold on a longer term chart today, you could see you've got upward movement, downward movement, and big movement also. So notice you would have been filled short on the magnet, and it may work before the news. You may test the low before the news this morning, but I don't like to take a magnet 5 minutes before news. It's not my goal of why the magnet trade was designed. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to pass on this trade. And what'll happen is we could put it on signals also. So let me finish gold. What I was saying, gold, we're going to put micro gold, a reverse continue, and I'll put a couple of contracts on the chart, 35 tick target and a 35 tick stop, a 45 tick stop on micro gold. Now the magnet would have worked, could have taken it, but again, like I said, it's looking like it's going to work. I don't like it to trade magnets right before the news. It worked perfectly. All right. It did work perfectly. I'm going to turn it off in a
So in 5
second.
minutes' time now, at the bottom of the hour,
Gold,
see the release
we've
of
got
the US weekly initial
MGC,
jobless claims.
reverse
Forecast
continue,
225k on the prior 227, with a range of
and we'll
235 to
trade this
204k
in,
expected. Continued claims forecast 1.86 million on the prior 1.862
I hope
million.
I get the
The
account
US
right. I'll
trade balance
check
for
number
December
36.
forecast is a deficit of
Let me check my
55.5 billion on the
account, make
prior
sure it's
deficit
one
of
I can trade.
56.8 billion. The range sees deficits of
Yeah,
46.8 to 87
36
billion.
is a
US
recovered
Philly Fed
account.
Business
I want to
Index
trade it
forecast 7.5 on the
on a fresh
prior
account.
12.6.
I'm going to
US
turn off
advanced
my
goods trade
magnet and
balance
just look it
forecast is a deficit of
off,
86
which is
billion
just going to
on the prior
generate
deficit of
signals.
84.72
And remember,
billion.
we have a
Retail
reverse
inventories
continue
X also
available
advanced,
on the
prior read of
MNQ
0%.
also.
Wholesale
So if you
inventories
want
month
to
over month
scalp it,
advanced,
you have the
prior
ability
of
to do
minus
that.
0.1%. We also get Canada's
And then
trade
on
balance for
gold, we have a
December,
trap
sees
trade.
a forecast deficit of 2.2 billion on the prior deficit of 0.58 billion. Keep in mind as well around the bottom of the hour, expecting comments from Fed's Bowman, who's delivering
So here's
recorded
our
opening
trap.
remarks at the 2026 Banking Outlook Conference, where a text is expected.
We're going to trigger the trade at 829.55. And I'm on micro gold. I want to make that very clear. I'm using a stop of 40. My tier is going to be 25 and 50 on my tiers. I'm shrinking them because gold is much quieter today. It's been volatile, but probably we should just leave it at 45 and 70. Let's just leave it where it is. It was a lot of movement up and down. It just happens to be flat at the moment. 45 and 70, trading it in a real account, number 36. Label it GC trap, but I'm not willing to trade a full trap, full size gold. It could be a $800-900 risk, all right? But I'm willing to put an extra position on contract number one, all right? So I've got two contracts on position one, one on position two. 8:29:55 is our trigger time on the trap. I have a 40 tick stop. My tiers are 45 on tier 1. Tier 2 is 70. I am trading it in a prop account. We need a good size move for the trade to fill. It's possible we get it. It's possible. And the magnet did work. All right. The magnet did work. Again, sometimes they work early. Generally, when I'm looking to trade a news report, I'm not usually looking to take the magnet early. Now, one reason why it was a good one to take early, though, you have a downward trend in the instrument. You have a nice downward trend taking place before we got here. Price was selling off, moving down. It was a good magnet to take. It was good. And TJ did take it and made a couple of bucks on it on the MNQ. So love the magnets. Today we have our webinar, our challenge. I'll put the link in YouTube and I'll put the link in the trade room. The challenge is free.
1 minute remaining. I'll lead with the US weekly initial jobless claims.
All right, we've got a minute. Gold is what I'm really looking at because we have a trap trade. Let's see if it fills. We need a pretty decent size move. 45 ticks. Got to have a 45 tick move. Now, there's no law that says you can't turn off the magnet and turn it back on the MNQ. Now that you're off the prices, you can make it a high of day, low of day magnet again if you wanted to and trade the
10
magnet.
seconds.
Now, it's not enough time because there's only 10 seconds. So I'm not going to rush.
Order submitted.
Here's our gold trap trade. It just missed.
206k,
It popped to the
206k, lower than
upside.
forecast, 225k.
Normally,
Trade balance, a deficit
you
of
should
70,
not
spot
really
3
let
billion, a
this
deficit of
fill
70,
to
spot
the
3
downside
billion,
because
lower
it
than the
popped to
expected
the
deficit of
upside
55, spot
and
6
already
billion.
did the
Fully Fed Business
reversal.
Index, 16 spot
So,
3, 16 spot 3, higher than forecast,
but
7 spot
because
5.
there's no real
Continued
powerful
claims, 1 spot
trend on
869
gold,
million, 1 spot 869 million,
I'd
higher
probably
than
Order
leave it
forecast, 1 spot
canceled.
be and
86
see
million.
if we can get a
Also, inventories
reversal
month-over-month advance,
out of it.
0.2% as expected. Retail inventories ex
Order
auto
filled.
advance 0.2%, 0.2%.
Bring my targets
Advanced goods
down.
trade balance a deficit of
All right,
98.5
bring my
billion.
Order
targets
canceled.
down.
Deficit of
So
98.5
gold didn't
billion,
work. It just
lower than the
shot
expected
in that
deficit
one
of
direction.
86
Yeah,
billion. So it's a little
it's
bit of
like I
strength in the
said,
dollar,
it was not the
whipsaw in
smartest.
the S&P 500.
Look, it wound up reversing. We just needed a little bit even bigger of a stop. It needed even bigger of a stop. This is the reason I traded it
So we have seen the
in
text release from Fed's Bowman
smaller,
as well.
lower
Doesn't seem to be any
risk
mention of
because
monetary policy or the
it's very
economic outlook here.
difficult in the current environment on a report that is inconsistent to know for sure what
And
the
keep in mind the event
settings
is a
should
register
always
only
be.
Zoom event as well.
We used our big settings,
Noting
and
some prior revisions here
I
now
could
as
have
well. Initial
used a
jobless claims revised
significantly
up to
bigger stop.
229k from
A
227, while
significantly bigger
continued
stop,
claims
and we
revised
would
down
have
to
had that
1.852
reversal.
million from
But the real truth
1.862
is, if we're
million.
taking the proper lesson,
Trade
the
balance revised
original
up to a
move
deficit of
was
53
up.
billion from
It
that deficit
didn't
of 56
fill,
spot 8
and
billion.
you had to watch very closely and very quickly. It didn't fill, and then it changed direction, and it should have canceled. You'd cancel that trade. The actual correct decision would be to cancel that trap trade. And I'll show you the video and explain why. If you want to really learn about trap trade trading, uh, in theory, it should have been canceled. But because look at the way gold moved before the event. Huge move up, huge move down. That tells me that gold could move in any direction on this news, any direction. So that's why I allowed the trap to fill, even though it wasn't the perfect follow the trap trade rules that we always get. Now, hang on 1 second. It had a big reversal. Let me show you the video. Let me show you the video. And let me turn off. The gold trap is off. The MGC reversal. I'm not trading gold now. I'm done with gold. Let me show you the trap trade video and show you what I mean. So give me a second. So it was unemployment, Philly Fed. You had trade balance in there. There was a lot of news. A lot of news. The jobless numbers were a little bit better than expected. Philly Fed, there was no forecast. It was a lot lower than previous. And also, there's a lot of data with Philly Fed. It's not just one number, but overall, it looks like Philly Fed business conditions much better than expected. Employment was down. So Philly Fed had some mixed news. Had, excuse me, some mixed news. So the news was not all in one direction, which lends itself well to a trap trade. We like to trade a trap trade when there's a lot of different news reports. So I'll show you what I'm talking about one line of thinking with trading a trap trade. So let me show you. There's always exceptions. And today is an exception because of the price movement. You had tremendous upward movement in gold. I mean, significant, but also significant downward movement. So that leads me to believe, and it was true, no matter what the news is, no matter what the direction, there's probably going to be multiple changes in direction after the news, right after. And that's exactly what happened. And let me show you the video. The general rule with a trap trade is if the first move doesn't fill, that's the move that was the trap trade. So if it doesn't fill, you cancel the trap trade. So let me show you what to look for so you understand. But like I said, there are exceptions. Today was an exception. The original move is at 8:30. Watch gold on the left. And let's make sure I'm right. So what's going to happen is the tiers, the orders are going to show up on the chart. Now, here's the thing. It hadn't yet moved. So I'm going to modify what I said. This was a trap trade that there had already been a whipsaw candle before the news came out. So it did not move up first, not in a super significant way. So waiting for the fill here was perfectly fine. What I was thinking, because you have to sometimes look very carefully, I was thinking that originally we had this big move up. It failed to the upside and went down. In that case, if that was the true only move, you might consider canceling that trap trade because it moved up first, didn't fill, so you've got your reversal already. The trap trade did its thing. But in this case, if you do a deeper dive and or you were paying very, very close attention, you'll notice it wasn't all that much of a move to the upside. In that case, I would wait for the trap to fill. And that's what I did. And it just didn't work. Our stop was a little bit too small. But we used micros. No horrible damage is done. Okay? No horrible damage is done. And we used micros because this is a very inconsistent report. So the news came out. Our stop just wasn't big enough. It needed to be quite a bit bigger also. Quite a bit bigger. Normally with a trap trade, I'll often wait at least a minute. At least a minute. It fills. You get both orders filling. I didn't even get a chance to expand my target, and then it really pushed down before I even had a chance to expand my stop, I mean. And it was a pretty big move. 9260. 9260 was our stop, and it got, into the 86. 60 ticks. I don't think this was an issue of the stop. I think it was just an issue of the price moving too much against us. Okay? And that happens. That happens. The NQ, it really did. The MNQ really have a great move on the news. Looking at 830, it seems like the magnet before the news was the better trade for the MNQ this morning. Here comes the news at 830. Watching the instrument. Here's the news. You see what we mean about the NQ, MNQ? It didn't really push either way from the news. And the news was somewhat mixed. We had just made a new low. Finally, then, it decides to make a move down. Now, it's not so much that it was a long time, but would you have survived a proper bracket? You might not have survived a smallish bracket. I just don't think the MNQ gives a great, or the NQ gives a great trading opportunity on this news. That's what we think. There was a signal. The signal, and it's something that we're working on. Sometimes when a magnet doesn't trigger, we have to turn it off and on. And I've got to get that fixed. That's something that I did not originally see the signal. When I just re-enabled the setup, the signal was there and it was a perfect signal. So it's a work in progress, but still, as long as you understand what generates a signal, it's easy to know when to take a signal, even if for some reason it doesn't print. Today it didn't print, and I'm working on making sure all signals print all the time. That's obviously the key of what we want to do, is make sure it prints all the time. Anyway, we've got a little bit of time here, so give me a second. Our next event, if we look at our schedule, we have not been trading the oil market open. All right. Our next event is really not scheduled until 9. We're not scheduled until 9. Now, bear with me a second. We've been trading the oil open, even though nobody wants to trade it anymore, because it's been working a little bit again. The oil open that we've been avoiding has been working a little bit. Chantal, do you remember? Did you see what it did yesterday? Do you remember? Did it work yesterday? I'm not sure Chantal's listening to me. So, all right. So we are here. Let me get rid of our MNQ at the moment. We're not using standard news right now for the next couple of events. Just looking through the calendar, we do have pending homes at 10, and we do have natural gas at 10:30. All right. We are not having a room for crude oil because we have our challenge today, and the crude oil report has been horrendous. It's been really trading as poorly as a report can trade. So we're not missing anything by not having that room. We're going to remove our gold trades. All right. I am going to heat my coffee. We are streaming on YouTube. We're going to keep the stream going. I'll be back in 3 minutes. I'm going to put oil on CL04. I don't even know if I have coffee. I'm out of coffee. Darn it. I have like one tiny bit to heat up. Oil, look at oil making new highs. All right. Let me heat the coffee. I'm taking my mic with me so you'll hear it. It's going to be 12 seconds and I'll be back. All right. Everybody should be able to hear me. Test 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Somebody. Okay, good. So I decided that's how long it takes to make a Keurig. I believe that the time is coming when there's going to be a warning about how unhealthy Keurigs are for you. That all you're doing is drinking plastic, most probably. And just, I've been watching videos lately about the quality of the food in the US. It's beyond comprehension what we allow
Crude
our
oil
food
futures hit the
companies
highest
to
since
do to
August
us.
on fears of potential US-Iran
It's
conflict,
really,
now at session highs of around
really unbelievable.
$66.70.
Unbelievable. Oil is making new highs over the worry about what's going to happen in Iran, obviously. That's why oil is going up nonstop, pretty much. Could you arrest your own brother? Could you arrest your own brother? Right? Because didn't the king arrest his brother today? Francis, do I have it right? The king arrested his brother? Right? Isn't that his brother? Yeah, but I mean, the police did. Who do you think directed it? It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. All right. So we've got oil. We'll put it on a 1 minute chart. This is a 30-minute chart of oil. Oil is bullish. We could put a daily chart on, see what it looks like on a daily chart. A minute, daily chart. Oil's pretty bullish, pretty bullish. We were below 60. 60 was a magic number a while ago, right? A while ago. It was a magic number back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Couple of weeks since we've been below 60. Let's get that straight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A week. 10 days. Oil is bullish. There's no doubt about it. Do you want to be short on a trade today with oil? I don't think I do. You don't think he has the power to arrest his brother? You don't think he has any influence, Francis? He has no influence? I believe you. All right. Then it's more amazing. It's even more amazing. All right, we have 10 minutes till the oil market opens. You have to decide, are you willing to risk $300 on that oil trade? Um, it's a trade that for months it worked great, and then it went through a really bad period for about 3 weeks, and now it's going through a better period, but people are not dying to trade it regardless. That's the honest truth.
To
People
keep in
have
mind, in
not
10
been
minutes'
dying
time
to
now, the
trade it
top of the
in
hour,
general.
Trump is due to be chairing the first Board of Peace meeting. We do have a live video on the calendar. We'll get one out on the feed as well for those
On the
interested.
YM, I'm going to put a quick reverse continue. Quick reverse continue on the YM. Change the breakout to a reverse continue. One position, we do a 35 tick target, we do a 35 tick stop. We do that most mornings. Most mornings we do not trade a discretionary YM trade. Most mornings we take a magnet. That's the most common way we trade in the morning. And we'll call it YM reverse continue. All right. And we have a funded account that we trade our YM in. And that account is growing nicely. And that's labeled, like I said, reverse continue. That YM funded account was a 50,000 bull and ox, and right now it is at 51,400, almost halfway to trying to get some money out of it. That would be sweet. Okay, so we're trading it smart and as careful as possible. Put a YM magnet on here this morning. Adding a magnet, high of day, low of day, because we're in between them. And we will do this morning. What are we going to do this morning? Let's do what we normally do. We'll do one position, default target of -3, and then a second position 15 tick target, stop of 55 to 60 should be the stop. All right. We're going to label it. Oil is selling off big time. So there is some
According to the
sort of a
Times, the
board
UK
of
is blocking
peace
Trump from
meeting.
using bases for strikes on Iran. Seeing a bit
Hold
of
on.
weakness in WTI crude here, as again, the UK is blocking Trump from using bases for strikes on Iran, according to the Times.
The United Kingdom will not allow Trump to use bases to attack Iran right now. That's causing oil price to go down because that may be saying there will not be an immediate attack, maybe. If you notice, the world is starting to reject Trump. That is something that is happening over and over. It's really creating some very, very, very interesting political questions. So we have a YM magnet, but that's the news I'm hearing in my headset, not commenting any other way other than what I'm hearing.
The Times says the UK has not yet given permission on the US using RAF bases.
They have not yet given permission. That's what the word is. Not yet given permission. Here's the irony, at least in my way of thinking. All of the things that I don't agree that Trump has done, you know, killing people in the streets of Minnesota, masked police. I'm not in favor of any of that kind of stuff. But the Iran question is really, would anyone not like to see a new government in Iran? Iran, however you pronounce it. They've been one of the worst governments in the history of the world since we've been children. They've been a horrible government. I'm not commenting on any other governments right now, but looking at the Iranian government, they've been a pretty horrible government, fostering terrorism all over the world, human rights, killing their own. Not a good government. Not a good government. That's just an observation. All right. Magnet, YM. Magnet YM. Let's go over
It's
the
in 5
setting
minutes' time
again.
now at the top of the hour. Trump is due to be hosting the Board of Peace event. We've got the live video on the
There
feed
will
for
be a
those
board
interested.
of
And
peace
keep in
at
mind, we're
9
also
o'clock.
expecting comments from
Board
Fed's
of peace.
Kashkari.
It's
He's speaking
mind-boggling
at the
sometimes. Some of
Midwest Economic Outlook Summit
the way this
in
world
Red
is.
River
High of
Valley.
day, low of
So
day.
keep in mind with
High
this
of day,
event,
low of
it's
day.
being hosted on Vimeo.
Percent
It needs some
proximity
age
is 3.
verification things done
Position
onto
1
the
is a
account in order
1.
to watch live.
-3
But we
on the
have got the link
target.
on the
Position 2
calendar
is a
for those
1.
interested in that.
15 ticks on the target. 55 on the stop. All right. 55 on the stop at the moment on the magnet. And then we're going to label it a YM magnet, and we're trading YM magnets in our funded YM account. All right. That's where we trade it, in our funded YM account. When you turn on a magnet, what happens? A high of day, low of day magnet. You get your orders on the chart, right? You get your orders on the chart. And you place your orders where you want to be filled if the magnet starts moving, okay? If the price starts moving. I do believe we are going to test the low this morning. We'll probably test it before the market opens, especially if there's news about war and bases. That'll all probably create a fill on this magnet. You know, you might want to trade just one contract to protect yourself from a little bit of risk. That's up to you. That is up to you. Right now, it just got a little bit quiet. but we do have orders. If you hover over the magnet button, it shows you that our sell is 34 and our target is 20. So our first target is 14 ticks, and then we have another X ticks, right? Remember, we have more ticks, 15. Hard to read because I'm not disabling the trade. 15 ticks through the magnet is our second trade. Do we want it automatic? Do we want an automatic fill? We got to get the oil trade set up. Let me set it up real quick. I'm going to leave my magnet auto at the moment. Oil, we have a quick reverse continue. One position, 20 tick
Wall
target.
Street Journal reports that U.S. Senator Warren questions Fed's Bowman on banking regulation
20
changes.
tick stop.
It says Warren and other Democrats raised concerns about the Fed examiners being sidelined.
Oil, I'll trade in account 37, I believe. We'll label it CL. Reverse continue. Whichever account we just lost a little bit of money, I'm going to trade it in. Let me see what count that was. That was number 36. So we'll do our oil reverse continue in 36, and we'll do our oil trade in 36. See if we can make that money back. Remember, we're very uncertain about whether we're going to keep trading this oil trade. The main trade is a range trade, and I will load the template for it. Load. Oil new open range is what we call it. I think
So we're
I want
shortly
to be.
expecting the start of the Board of
I
Peace
think I
event,
prefer to
which
be
is
filled
chaired by
long,
Trump,
but
and also
I've
shortly
tried to
expecting
outthink
comments
this
from
oil
Fed's
report so
Kashkai.
many times, this oil open, and I've gotten killed every time I try to outthink it. So I'm just going to let it trade. Oil new open range. I'm going to right click it and rename it with today's date. And our setup is the range starts at 859. One tick above the range,
The effective
one
Fed fund
tick
rate is
below the
unchanged
range.
at 3.64%
Show the range
for
graphics
February
on
18th.
chart. End the range, 90040. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Target 1 is 8 ticks, target 2 is 20 ticks, using a stop of 15 and a BE minus 4 if target 1 gets hit. Target 1 stop move, BE minus 4. It's already labeled, and we'll trade it in that 36 account. That's a fairly new prop account that our gold trap trade didn't work in. Here's our range. It's already starting to draw. I think I'd rather be filled long, but with news and stuff like that going on, who knows? You don't know.
Order submitted.
Oil can move in any direction on this news, on this report this morning. Now, the open was not very dramatic because there was dramatic movement before the open from the news. All right.
Order submitted.
So we are filled short. I'll probably be aggressive. Our stop is way above the range, way above the range. Way above. It's 6 ticks above. My charts are spread pretty far. Now, what I don't like the upward trend on oil in the signals, right? There is an upward trend. I'd like to get a target 1 fill, or even 3/4 of a target 1 fill. And then we can go over to our MNQ open.
According to a Treasury Department statement, Trump is to host the G20 summit in Miami on December 14th to 15th.
Now, we almost had 8 ticks there, and it's just chopping around very, very choppy, very choppy. I would not trade this in my funded account, right? I would not trade it in my funded account. This is a trade for a regular prop account that will not ruin your life if it doesn't work well, right? It's nice to have a couple of accounts. Bullinox has a sale, PTF 89 right now. They have a sale going on. PTF 89, 89%. It's like $19.75 for an eval. That's a nice price for an eval. And I'm definitely concerned that we're on the wrong side of the oil trade. Even though right now it's not negative at the moment, all the signs are pointing up. Except the price movement, but it's not exactly following through on the downside yet. So my gut feeling is I'm tempted. If I can break, if we can break this candle on the downside, I might move my target up to get target one, to get part of target one. I don't want to do it for 2 ticks, if you know what I mean. Right now it's 3 ticks, 4 ticks. Keeping an eye on the YM. It's very quiet, very quiet. As we get closer to the open, the YM should get busier. It looks like the YM is going to fill to the short side before the open. That's what it looks like before the open. If you let it. If you don't want to let it, you just turn your magnet off and you can wait till the open. You don't have to trade
Voice news disconnected.
pre-open. You could wait. Now, we do a lot of trading before the open, and a lot of them work. You do get, obviously, much more movement at the open, faster. So this oil trade, now we're getting to the point where you could consider, if you want to just get out with a small profit. It all depends. Do you think it's going to work? Right now, we're just getting a signal possibly in our favor. Hasn't closed yet, but we may be getting a signal in our favor. I'd like to hit target one. It's not asking all that much to hit target one, which is only 8 ticks. Remember, that's only 8 ticks. If it hits target one, we could move our stop to break even. And we did not get the close yet of our signal. It's chopping. But it's very worrisome because there could be another test of the high in the cards because of war news. You never know. There's always this fear of war and attacks at the moment. And right now we're still, the signals are against us still against us. I do a lot of talking out loud. At some point soon, I'm going to shrink my oil chart so we could put our MNQ chart. We have an everyday MNQ open. It doesn't change anything about the oil trade. It just shrinks the chart horizontally. That's all I'm talking about. Now, if you wanted to, you could combine both your orders, right? Let's say you just hate the trade. Combine both your orders, and now
Order filled.
it filled one of them. I chased it down to try and get it to fill my second one,
Order filled.
and I made like 80 bucks. And I'm out of this trade. I'm out of my oil trade at the moment. All right. $80 profit. I'm done with oil this morning. Let's watch. I hate to say it, folks, but it almost seems like the oil trade is trading well enough to keep trading it. And I wonder if we take another vote, how people are thinking about it. Has anybody changed their mind about oil? Has anybody changed their mind? Chantal, it's definitely trading better. Don't you agree? It's definitely trading better. If you could get target one every day, you'll take it. You'll take it happily. Happily, you'll take it. It's probably going to do better. So what we're doing is, if we're here, I'm going to trade it. That's how I'm going to deal with it. Am I going to trade it in my funded account? I'm not ready yet to put it back in my funded account, but there's no doubt it's trading better. So we can talk about it. I can trade it. You could watch. No one's making you do anything, so it's no sweat, no big problem either way. Target one definitely hit without a doubt this morning. Target one has been hit. NQ now. MNQ 0326.
Order submitted.
Okay, I'm filled on my YM. The big problem on the YM this morning, and it is a problem, I think. The worrisome is it's very slow. The stop, putting the stop above the VWAP is asking a lot. It's asking a lot. MNQ, it would be asking a lot. I'd like to see a little bit more movement from the YM, and I'm feeling extremely conservative this morning. I'm putting, well, let's leave it be for a minute. MNQ, we want to put our reverse continuation on for the open. I'm not recording, darn it. Turn the recorder on. When we turned off our recorder, I forgot to turn it back on. Actually, we're on YouTube, so it is actually being recorded on YouTube. Now, it's before the open, so I would be happy to hit both targets this morning. Take the magnet and run. Take the magnet and run. I'm feeling just very, very conservative this morning. And then
Order
maybe we'll
filled.
take a second trade at the open. So we're up a small magnet YM, very slow. I don't like that slow price movement. I think it'll still probably test the low. There it goes. It's testing the low. So let's watch it for signals. We'll watch it for signals. And let's set up our MNQ. I don't like, you have a starting to get a change in direction. Let me record something. Hang on. MNQ, let's back up for a second. MNQ reverse continuation. Let's put that on the chart. MNQ reverse continuation. That's the first thing that goes on our MNQ chart. A couple of contracts, reverse continuation. Profit target, we're going to go 40 ticks with a 75 tick stop. All right, there's our first signal off of the low of day. That's a correct signal to go along. YM, it's before the open. I don't always take a signal like that before the open, but that is a valid signal at the moment. Change in momentum on the squeeze off of the low. That is one of the rules, okay? Oil hit both targets. Oil hit both targets. So I think we'll keep trading oil, folks. It's just forcing us to keep trading it. MNQ, we have two contracts, 40 tick target, 75 stop. Labeling it MNQ, reverse continue, MNQ, reverse continue, and we'll trade the MNQ in our funded MNQ market open account. So that is now turned on. Now we also have an MNQ breakout. All right, we have an MNQ breakout. And I will load the template for the MNQ market open. Now remember, our original magnet was short on the YM, being aggressive this morning. It actually
Fed's Kashkari says the
was
labor
not
market
a
has
bad
remained pretty
decision
resilient, and
to
it
be
is softer but
aggressive
still decent
and
to
get
pretty
out
good.
of that YM magnet because it was moving so slowly. It has changed direction and gone against us. So I'm happy at this point now to have my profit on the small magnet on the YM. I like,
Kashkari adds that the Fed is
after
close
the
to both
open,
mandates and rates
taking
are
the
pretty close to
trade
neutral.
better. But sometimes, like the MNQ this morning on unemployment, sometimes the opportunity happens before the news, and you have to just grit your teeth. It's a little higher risk and take it. So now we're looking for our MNQ breakout template, and it's called MNQ New Open. MNQ New Open. We'll right click it and label it today's date. It's the 19th, right? Yep. When you load it, it saves it. And we have 929.59, bracket of 40. It's up to you how many contracts and positions, etc. you want to trade. I use a target of 35 ticks today and 100. Break even if it hits my first target and 125 stop. I'm going to set the time to 0 and we will look at our bracket management. Bracket management. That was a good signal. Not phenomenal. I'll show you how to gauge how good that signal was. You want to be honest about how you value and calculate the signals. Let's go back to finishing setting up our MNQ breakout, setting it at 0 to check the brackets. That's where we left off. We're on sim. Put the chart manager on sim, chart trader, I should say. When you turn on a sim trade with
Order
0
submitted.
time, you get your brackets.
Order
Okay.
canceled.
I'm going to turn off the horizontal line, highlight the breakout, go to optional, show vertical line on entry is off. All right. Apply it and OK it. Put the time. You could look at the brackets one more
Order
time in
submitted.
sim. Very nice, manageable brackets. Okay. We're in the middle of highs and lows. We're way closer to the lows because we're negative this morning. Somewhat negative. All right.
Order canceled.
Time goes back. Highlight the breakout. Time goes back to 9:29:59 on our trigger. We've got a 40 bracket. Targets of 35 and 100. Stop of 125. Micros. And target one stop move is break even. So that's our trade. Put the chart trader back to the funded MNQ open account. Apply it and OK it. Put the chart trader on that correct account so you see the orders when the market opens and our trade triggers, and enable the trade. Don't forget, turn on the trade in the chart trader, right? Now, how do you measure whether or not a signal was a good signal or not? How do you really tell? Sometimes it'll be
Connection lost.
obvious. Sometimes it'll be obvious because they'll just be a great move, right? And that's fine. Sometimes it's obvious, you don't have to think about it. But today, we did get a pretty quick, long signal after we made just one test of the low. That's unusual. More often than not, you get multiple tests. Not always, but often. If you understand how the signal generates, it doesn't generate until the bar closes. So you're not trading or entering on the signal candle. On a 1 minute chart, you then look at your signal, your candle after the signal is generated. If you want to be honest about how well you've done, you would have done,
Fez Kashkari says reports
take
from
the
businesses
worst
about pricing
possible
warrant
fill
some caution
on
about the
that
strength of the labour
candle,
market.
or at least not the best fill. The worst fill is the highest part of the candle, right? If you're going to always look for the best fill, you're going to look for the lowest part of the candle. So let's take it at the highest, and we will measure. I like to use the little ruler, the pencil and the ruler. Put the pencil at the top of the candle and go to the highest point we've gotten to since the signal. And it's only 24 ticks of movement. It's not a monster signal at the moment. But it's a winner. 24 possible ticks available of profit. Now we're getting close to possibly another magnet trade on the YM. There's no law that says you can't do another trade at the open of just a traditional high-low magnet. You could trade to the VWAP if you wanted to. We have a VWAP set up. I'm obviously, people watch me. You know that I'm generally a high of day, low of day trader. Those are my favorites. Those are my favorites. Especially on the open, because we're in a reasonable range where the YM could get to the high, and obviously it easily can get to the low. It definitely can do a PP magnet this morning. You could do a previous day's open magnet. You could do a VWAP magnet. There's a lot of magnet possibilities this morning. A lot of possibilities. I love the high of day, low of day on the open. I like that the best. VWAP is pretty good this morning. VWAP's pretty good this morning. You could
Fed's
do it on the
Kashkari
control
says, White
panel
House
this
Economic
morning.
Advisor Hassett's comments about
Go to
Fed
custom
staff research
level,
were just another step to try to
target the
compromise the
VWAP,
Fed's independence.
and where are you going to put your entry? It has to be below the VWAP. Your entry line is going to show up. It's got to be below the VWAP because we're moving up to the VWAP, not down to it, right? So maybe if you break 600, we're going to test the VWAP. So that's not a bad test at all. Buy at 604 for a target of 629.
According
That's
to
not a bad
PM,
trade.
Iran ought to face a
So
response it can't imagine if it
it's
attacks Israel.
it's pretty cool that you could target the VWAP
So that's coming from Netanyahu.
without doing
Also, Fed's
anything
Kashkari says the Fed is
inside
committed
the
to making the
software. You
best
could do it
decision
all
based
from
on
the
data and
control
analysis
panel.
and aims
I
to
think
avoid
that's
other
very
distractions.
clever programming. That was the programmer's idea. I can't take credit for that. That was his idea. I'm going to turn off the YM magnet for the moment and set up another high of day, low of day magnet. Choose high of day, low of day, right? Percent proximity is a 3. I'm just going to trade one contract now, and I'm looking for a test of the magnet. 3 ticks from it. And we have a 55 tick stop. And you can label, it's already labeled YM magnet. Do I want to trade it again in my funded account? Right now, I'm going to leave it in the funded account. Apply it. Okay, when you turn on a high of day, low
Kashkari
of
says,
day
I am
magnet,
optimistic about AI.
you
Almost all
have to
businesses are
place your
finding benefits
orders.
from using it.
So the orders under 50, our sell is
And Kashkari says,
41.
crypto is utterly useless.
Our sell is 41. And our target is 20. And then on the upside, obviously you want to be above the PP for your
Kashkari says,
entry.
AI could be a boost to productivity in the next 5 to 10 years.
58 on the buy. Let's say 63 on the buy. Target's 85. So that's a possible magnet. And we do have a reverse continue set up also. Are we going to get another low magnet? Is it going to happen before the news? Open, I should say, or is it going to happen
Kashkari says the Fed
after
is
the open?
cautious about using AI internally, though, with strong guardrails against giving access of confidential data.
And then our MNQ open trade is just waiting to take place. I'm just looking for some notes. So MNQ has that volatility, the 5-minute volatility that we've noticed.
Qashqai says it's not clear what a stablecoin can do beyond what Venmo
And we
and
do
other
have
similar
some
services already offer.
other setups that people have been doing well with on the open. In particular, the RTY open is an open that everybody's interested in trading these days, right? The RTY has been a very nice open. Maybe we'll trade that tomorrow. It's too late to set it up now. So we're just waiting on that open now. What happened to Nitin this morning? I haven't seen him. Have I just missed him? $10. There is a pending homes sale trade or not report. Out of all the home sale reports, it is the most difficult. It's really been the one that hasn't had a steady setup. So we have a minute to
1 minute
go.
now until we get the markets on open imbalance.
Minute to go. Is the MNQ just going to shoot down to the low, or is it going to try and change direction on the open? Oh, there you are. All right, so we will get our brackets on the MNQ shortly.
10 seconds.
Order submitted.
There's the brackets. I'm thinking short.
Order
Yep, we're
submitted.
short.
Markets
We've
on
hit the
open
first
imbalance.
Order
target.
filled.
500, a sell side of 123
Order
million.
filled.
And it's
Nasdaq
reversed.
100,
So
sell side
every
3 million.
morning it does
Dow
the
30
same
sell side
exact
2
thing.
million.
I gotta
MX7
find a
flat.
new way to trade this. Every morning we hit our first target and reverse. It's been that way all week, every day this week. The YM changing direction. The VWAP magnet was perfect, right? VWAP magnet was perfect. We may get the short test of the low. The
Order
stop
submitted.
needs to
Order
be,
filled.
look at that perfect magnet on the YM. Another $100 on the YM on the magnet. 95. 52 on the MNQ. We wind up being completely positive this morning. We turned around our one negative trade. Now, see, there is a signal that I would not take this signal. It's a valid signal because we tested the VWAP. And we do now have a valid short. It is working, but that's a ballsy signal to take. You have to have balls of steel to take that signal. And you have to be quick also. Quick. It's too early. It's not my favorite time to take a signal. So MNQ breakout, I'm turning it off because it worked immediately. I've been increasing my targets slightly on the MNQ. I think I'll probably increase them more. That's probably the way to deal with the way I'm trading it. I don't feel like jinxing anything by changing anything right now. So earnings were strange this morning, but made a little bit of money on earnings. Walmart does not release on time. John Deere doesn't release on time. John Deere doesn't move, so Deere's not worth trading. Walmart, pretty strange, but we learned a lot about Walmart this morning that
Qashqai
it
says
might be
US
a
is
good
structurally short of
NQ
housing.
trade.
Interest rates may be part of
I
that,
think we've
but
learned
so
that
are zoning and material
about
and labor costs.
Walmart. So it was worth getting up for. And we made a little bit of money on the YM on Walmart. And then to recap everything, the unemployment, our trap trade, we used micros on gold. So we did get stopped on that, but we made the money back on a couple of other trades. So we are completely positive, I believe, this morning. Um, we had two YM magnets that worked. Small ones this morning. They were small, but they both worked. We had our MNQ funded trade. We're still just barely under 50K. Still, we have a long way to go. Oh no, we're negative 77 bucks on the trap trade. So, but we overall we made 450-ish, 450 this morning. And the YM wound up going through the magnet. Okay, through the magnet. The RTY lost this morning the first time in a week, right, Roz? Isn't that the first time in a week it had a loser? So it can't win every day. And it's a small stop. It's a small stop. James, your RTY was a winner. Do you trade the same one? Do you trade the same one? Same setup? Yeah, so it's understandable why that can happen, though. It's very easily to understand how someone who trades the exact same setup could have a winning trade from someone who trades and doesn't have a winner because your orders go on the chart at different nanoseconds. And a nanosecond or a couple of nanoseconds can make the difference between a winner and a loser if it's a tight trade. So if the RTY was a tight trade this morning, that's why that could happen. Now, Roz, you were live, right? You were live, weren't you? And Roz, I think
Trump
everybody
has
else
arrived at
is
the Board
prop
of
on it.
Peace meeting. We do have a live video on the feed just slightly further down, also on the calendar as well.
I think everybody else is prop. Is anybody else trading the RTY live? Now, look, the MNQ is going to test the low, it looks like. It's a little bit late to chase it. It's a little bit late to chase it. It's there. There it is. There it is. Need to remember to put MNQ magnet signals on the chart in the morning because we would have gotten a good signal to take that low. Look how great that VWAP signal turned out to be, as risky as it was. That was a risky VWAP signal, but it worked great. It worked great. Now remember, your stop is pretty small on that signal. It's only about 10 to 12 ticks. It's a small stop. 10 to 12 ticks above the VWAP, and it's moving really nicely. And again, I'm not going to take the best fill. I'm going to take a mediocre fill. All right? Mediocre fill. And it moved 145 YM ticks. 145 YM ticks. All right. And that's a signal from the new magnet trade. I like VWAP and high of day, low of day signals. That's what I concentrate on with the software. Yes, every now and then I have to uncheck the magnet and recheck it to turn the signals on, and I'm working with the programmer on fixing that. But overall, the signals, enjoying the signals very much. All right. Sander, very nice, Sander. Very nice. Sander, you've been on a nice roll for the past couple of weeks at the Opens. Am I seeing it right? Am I seeing it right?
Kashkari says, I do not take the national
Yes.
debt into
I've been
account in
watching
setting
your
short-term
results,
interest
so
rates. That
good.
is a fiscal policy issue.
All right.
And says AI investment is
Oh,
probably driving up the neutral rate.
pending home sales. Oh my God. Pending home sales and natural gas. I thought we could get out of here. We can't get out of here. Let me say goodbye to YouTube this morning. We stuck around a long time on YouTube. And maybe we'll do a micro trap trade on pending home sales. I don't think it's a full-size gold trap. It's not reliable enough as a report. I don't even have a setup for it, to be honest. We don't have a setup. So maybe we'll just watch pending homes because we really don't have a good setup for it. You can't have a great setup for everything. There's too many reports that change. One of the issues is they change, you know? They're not the same every day, every month. Every day on opens, they're not the same. All right. Thanks everybody on YouTube. We posted our link for the challenge. The challenge is at noon today. You're welcome to join us. Magnet Challenge. So thank you on YouTube, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be streaming tomorrow morning as well. Graybeard, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.